Hey now, anybody want to get dropped tonight? Once you get dropped, try to stop the fight. And if it gets high, we can barely drop the price. You know, yeah, forgot that I rock the mic. They call me keyboard, rep that trouble bunch. Still moving weight like a shuttle bus. Got kids around the country trying to.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Over Sharon Show, episode 10.9. We're going to be wrapping up some of the loose ends from episode 9, and we're going to be talking about the stuff that we talked about in episode 10 as far as Sedona and stuff like that. We're going to share some more stories. But before we do that, I'm going to say a quote, and then Sharon's going to pull a card, and I might pull a card too. And just to let everyone know, I am hanging out with some friends in sunny Daytona, Florida right now. So I'm still on my travels, on my journeys. Last week I recorded at Adam's house in South Carolina. And since then I drove to Savannah, Georgia, spent a couple nights there camping in Fort McAllister State Forest, I think it is. And now I'm in Daytona crashing with some friends. So it's been awesome. But anyway, today's verse is from the Tao Te Ching. She who is centered in the Tao can go where she wishes without danger. She perceives the universal harmony even amid great pain because she has found peace in her heart. Music or the smell of good cooking may make people stop and enjoy, but words that point to the Tao seem monotonous and without flavor. When you look for it, there is nothing to see. When you listen for it, there is nothing to hear. When you use it, it is inexhaustible. And I believe that's verse 35, but I could have it wrong because of the way it's in my phone. But anyway, hey Sharon, how's it going?
Good. It's kind of annoying because there's a lot of clouds today. I feel like they're chem clouds, but
maybe somebody had a bunch of plug-ins plugged in and it created a huge cloud.
I hate Glade plugins. I freaking hate those days.
This show is not brought to you by Glade plugins, everybody. If you have a Glade plugin, immediately take it out and please throw it in the trash. You'll do yourself a giant service. I'm all like itchy today because when I was in Savannah, it was probably like record lows. It was like 25 at night last night I was there.
Smokes,
but I sat by the fire all night and I just roasted some logs. It was awesome. I had a great time. And then I got down here, it was a little chilly, but then it's been warm. So I'm just,
Well, it's sunny for you right now. And it's not freaking sunny in Phoenix, Arizona right now. I'm telling you that.
That's
the sun
crazy.
is hiding behind some ugly ass clouds. I'm telling you.
How dare it? So would you pull a card?
I did, but here's the funny part. As you were talking, I pulled a card. And then I was like, well, should I be shuffling while he's talking? And I was like, well, maybe I'll put the card back and then I'll shuffle. But as I was going to put the card back, a card fell out. So which one should I pick? The one I originally pulled or the one that fell out?
The
one that fell out?
Yeah, let's see what the one that fell out was, and then we'll look at the other one. And I have my deck here, Rider Waite.
The one that fell out was the 9 of Wands.
Ooh, that just came up in a reading that I did for my friends here in Daytona. That's amazing. I'll pull out that in the Rider Waite because I have my Rider Waite here, and it's all ordered.
Okay.
So I know exactly where to go. There it is. Ooh, it's a good card. So, okay, I'll hold this one up. This is...
Okay. It's very similar.
Very similar, yep. You just get a little more depth in the Rider Waite, obviously, because of that. And I like this card because it really shows like the struggle people have to go through, right? Because wands are all about creation, and 9 is that number of like completion, perfection. So you have this guy that's all beat up, right? He's got a bandage on his head, but he has these wands all.
And this one has one on his arm, a bandage on his arm.
Exactly, and it could show it's the left arm, so it could show maybe something with the right brain, a lot of work that was being done or something.
Good call that you knew that was his left arm. Really cool. Yeah. I mean, like, when you're looking at stuff on video, you don't know which one's which. Good call.
Thank you. And I feel it really highlights the struggle that you go through when you're doing this magic, and magic is just creating your reality. Really, all it is. And that's where you're at the point where you have it all set up, but it's not as glamorous as you think. It's not like, oh, I'm out here and I'm like, you think about like Gandalf, for example, right? Like Gandalf the White riding on this horse. It's not exactly like that. It's also, sometimes you go through the struggles and battles, and the scars that you have are kind of part of who you are. And this guy has all his wands though all lined up right there now as a barrier of protection, and he has that other one he's clutching tight. So he's just basically like at a resting point, but he knows at any moment he might have to defend that.
Yeah. And from past readings, because I have gotten this card before as well, this card seems to represent that despite all the struggles that you've been through, because, you know, clearly you have a broken arm or something, that you're still going to come through. You're still upright, you're still standing, and you're going to make it. You're going to make it through. So that's how I see this card.
Yeah. If you're still alive, that's all that matters. People get caught into despair, and we're going to talk about that in this episode a bunch. But, you know, it reminds me of poker, because when you're playing a tournament, the way it works, you buy in for a set amount, and then you get these fake chips, and then you play with these fake chips all the way down, basically till there's, you know, first, second, third, or however many places. So you play and you get knocked out. Sometimes you can rebuy, but when you're knocked out, that's it. You're done. And there's a saying that it says all it takes is a chip in a chair, because some people have been knocked down to like one chip left. And then for whatever reason, they'll win the next hand that they're in. And then they win a couple and they go on a roll. And then all of a sudden they end up winning the tournament. And that happened to me one time. I was playing a tournament. There's probably like 200 people in it. We were down to like 130 or 120 people left. And I got knocked down to like not even the blinds, which is like what it takes to even enter for one hand. Like I didn't have enough, so they had to cut up whatever was there. But I won the next hand, then the next one, and then I had a decent stack, and I was able to actually make it to the end of the tournament and still make money. And I didn't give up. If I had gotten mad about it, just gave up and walked away, or you know, just played stupid, I could have lost. But because of that, I kept my head. And I think it's just like that in life. Sometimes you get dealt these cards. And I think somebody just shared a meme in one of our groups, and it was like, you know, it's not about the cards that you're dealt, it's about how you play those cards. And that is huge in poker, really, you know. And a lot of times it does, when you get shitty hands, it's telling you, if they get bad hands, to just not play right now. You know, you just kind of step back and take time for yourself. And that's another thing we're going to talk about. So it's all synchronistic. But yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Oh, the sun's peeking through the clouds.
Ooh, I could see it here too. We could both see the same sun, and you're on the other side of
Dude, isn't that crazy? And how many miles between us?
Yeah.
Thousands.
The craziest thing was when we were driving, you could see mountains that were clearly at least 100 miles on one side. And then you could see mountains on one other side of that are 100 miles away. And you're like, well, if I could see both of them, then they could see each other too, probably, right? Anyway.
Yeah. The never-ending mountain of Humphreys Peak in Flagstaff, right?
Oh, yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah. So,
all right. So
we wanted to talk about some of the, did you want to pull a card as well, or what did you want to do?
No, I think that, well, what's the other card that you were gonna, because my deck's all over.
Wheel of Freaking Fortune.
Ooh, we could talk about that a little bit. And it's a 10, which is great because it's 9-10, and this episode is 10.9.
Holy freaking smokes. Holy shit.
You do that on purpose.
I did not.
No, I know.
Oh my God.
Let's see. I'm going to see what it looks like here in the rider. Wait.
And I picked this one first. So it was 10. And I picked that one next, which is 9. Dude.
Major Arcana and Wands. So this episode's going to be pretty magical, everybody. You're excited. And a big shout out to everybody's watching live. Probably this week I'll be able to be in the chat, I'm guessing. And then I also am making plans to meet with Librarian Bear. So maybe by now we had met, because I told her maybe Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, she's about an hour and 45 from me. So I could do that.
That's not that far.
Yeah, that's what I said. And she doesn't have, well, let's just say help drive there. And we were going to find a spot and hang out. But yeah, I think it's cool. I love that because it's stuff like this, guys. You know, if you're watching the show and you're like, oh, must be nice. Well, you know, you can have a show and we'll watch it. And, you know, you can meet people from it and you can have fans too. And thank you to all our fans. Without you guys, you know, just be me and Sharon talking to each other, which we would still do anyway. But
yeah, I think we would.
At least we could get it out there in show form and it looks like we're actually doing something. So we're like, hey, look.
Speaking of people, just real quick, speaking of people who like our show or whatever, I want to give a shout out to Joe, Olive Tree Bear's friend. I don't think I know his bear name, if he has one, but he was like telling me the other day in another group, he was chatting and saying that he liked our show and he wanted us to keep going. He said he enjoys it.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Joe.
So shout out to Joe.
I love
don't
the
remember his
encouragement.
bear name if he has one.
That's what,
Joe Bear. Thank you.
I consume a lot of media, we'll say, like on YouTube and all these sources and stuff. And I always make sure to like comment and tell people, good job, or I like it and all this stuff. And I think it's important because people don't realize, even if they get thousands of views and stuff, like every time someone says that you're doing a good job or whatever, it feels good. And it makes you know that or it helps you know that you're doing things in the right direction and all that stuff,
Yeah.
So,
and it's also like, I sent out a video yesterday, I think it was, I don't know if you've seen it, but it was this girl who's going around and just being kind and sharing kindness to people and telling them that their smile was great, that they were just amazing people, and just being kind to people that were passing by. And they just would light up as soon as she would tell them something like that. And they would, it's like, it doesn't cost you anything to be kind to people.
it's so true. I used to, when the world was a little different and used to do a lot of customer service on the phone and you'd have to talk to people, whenever I got somebody that was like really cool, I would always ask to speak to their supervisor when I was done. And then I would be like, this is the best call experience I've ever had. I'm like, this employee is awesome. They need a raise. You should give them a raise right now. Like, you don't want to lose them. Like, I would just gush because, a lot of times you just get a jerk on the phone that didn't care. I would really never complain. That's not my thing. I don't like to, if it's like really bad and you got to like point it out maybe, but I just would do that. And then even like my friend Dwayne and I, when we'd be at stores and stuff, if we had a really good experience, because we used to do a lot of shopping back in the day, we would always be like asked to talk to the manager and just say what a great salesperson this was or whatever, try to leave reviews. Cause I think it really is important. And I wanted to give another shout out to our community because I watch a lot of other videos on YouTube, and it's funny, their ratio to thumbs up to views that they have, like they'll have like hundreds of thousands of views, but like 100 thumbs up, and we have like maybe 50 to 100 views on our videos, but we consistently have like at least 20 thumbs up. So we know people are actually watching, or maybe even more. I'm just kind of like going off the cuff, but yeah, thank you guys. So we know that you're actually watching and paying attention. So that's great.
So can you tell us about the Wheel of Fortune?
Yes, I can. So the Wheel of Fortune, I think it's a really, the reason why the card is very, I don't think of the right word, very pertinent. I don't know, I'll think of the right word to our situation, because that's kind of where our podcast is. We have different we have different topics that we choose, and we're just in this spot now where we can pretty much go anywhere we want. And we're at a point where it's like a resting point when you're at a 10 and you come to this point where you have to make a decision and you spin the wheel. So that's kind of what we're doing. And we were talking about some new topics. We want to talk about maybe NASA and how it affected us growing up in the space race, because what kid didn't want to be an astronaut and go to space when they were younger, Also, if there's any topics you guys want to hear us talk about, please comment below. But I think and it's very pertinent. Oh, man, I wish I could think of the right word. It's very pertinent to the situation because of the experiences we're going to be talking about in Sedona, and the time we took for pausing and self-reflection and healing. And that's really aids you when you come to the Wheel of Fortune, because the Wheel of Fortune, people look at stuff when it happens to them like luck. Oh, this is just bad luck, or this is really good luck. Where some other people like us maybe, realize that it really has a lot to do with your actions and
Karma.
Where your thoughts, cause and effect, and where your thoughts are. And if you take it deeper, it's like the seed thought it becomes the fruit of your action. So if you can learn to clean up your thoughts and think positively and be grateful and practice thankfulness, stuff like that, it seems to me anyway, that in my life, it's worked out a lot better, where I have good luck and I have chance meetings with people, and just this crazy stuff happens, like, so this, I was going to tell you this before, but it's better I tell you on the show. So I'm staying with my friend Colin, and when I was in Georgia, I posted some pictures on Facebook, I think, and I put something on Instagram. It was like a story, and I had my staff, and I was like doing the serious face. Somebody that we know here in Florida that used to live in Connecticut took a screenshot of that, sent it to Colin, and it's like, I think Brandon's going to storm the Capitol. Had no idea I was coming here, that I was really even that good of friends with Colin or any of that. Just another person who moved to Florida. That and Colin showed me, he's like, and then he goes, yeah, I texted her and said, yeah, he's on his way here. How crazy is that synchronicity? So that's
Are
another.
you going to meet with that? Is she a female? She's a, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the word female. I hate that word.
Yeah. I think we're going to try to,
girl?
Yeah. We're gonna see if she's around. We try to hit her up. I'm not exactly sure who it is. He said the name, and I'm pretty sure I know. And I was trying to look on Facebook, but when I see, I know, because I know, from years of DJing in Milford. Yeah, I just in growing up. Yeah. Plus, when I was in the Marines, I met a whole new set of people. Now, like the Bears, it's like, do I know you? Where do I know you from?
Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
But Colin, he has the same last. Well, yes, we have the same last name, which is great. So, yeah. It's like I've known him for a while. He's not related, but it's funny because he's been friends with all of my younger brothers because he's younger, and I was away in the Marines, and he didn't know that we were brothers, and it's like blew his mind when he found out.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Because the name Smith is so common too, probably. So he's just like, it's just another Smith. Like, that's so funny.
And I've known him for about 20 years. Because he was friends with another friend of mine when we were in the car business, and I was in, and he was friends with a guy who I had worked with, and he wasn't in the business yet, but he got in after me, and he did really well. That's why he moved down here. He was like, dude, he was telling me, like, if I want, or just so everybody knows on the Over Sharon show, I have the skills and the ability. If I want, I could move to Florida here. And the guys that are doing finance, what I used to do, they're making about $30,000 a month. Because the car business is so insane right now. So I probably make about, well, not more than that a year, maybe about 40 or 50 a year. So, I could easily just go do cars, but it would, like, this hair would probably fall out, it's brutal. Like, we called the guy last night, my friend Mario, we're like, hey, meet us for dinner. And he's like, what are you joking? It's the last day of the month. So we're going to meet him tonight. Yeah. So he was there till like 9 or 10 o'clock. So we're going to meet him tonight. I'm excited though. He has a restaurant too now. He opened a restaurant, but he's still in business.
Sweet.
So it's Italian. He's Italian. Yeah. I can't wait to bust his balls about the food.
Mario.
Yeah. He's great.
Italy.
Anyway. Yeah. Mario.
Super Mario.
So he has like a super Italian last name
Guido.
Too. It's like Guido Bill. His name is like so Italian. It's great.
Wait, what's his last name?
I don't really, well, it's Recupero. Okay. You could say Recupero. It's just like, so like, Recupero Mario, like, yeah. And there's like 3 Marios because like his son is Mario, and then he has like another stepbrother that's Mario. It's so funny. They're awesome though.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're really good people. I'm excited to be down here.
So cool. Do you want me to read the 10 of?
Yeah, go ahead.
The 10 of the major arcana, which is Wheel of Fortune. Well, the book I have says, the upright meaning is you are experiencing the cycle of change. The wheel is turning and your situation is constantly evolving and shifting. What goes up must come down and vice versa. I think that's kind of similar to what you were saying about when you were talking about karma and the cause and effect and all that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Interesting. The reversed says that if card appears reversed for you, or if this resonates with you, it may feel as if life is happening to you and not for you, and that you're always running into bad luck. Oh my God, what a sync. But you have a choice. You can be at cause or at effect. Holy shit.
Look, we're really starting to understand the tarot, huh, Sharon?
I didn't even read that before I looked at oh my God. That's crazy. I wasn't even going to read the reversed. Wow. But as soon as I read that, the whole like happening life happening to you versus happening for you. Like that's something I've been saying for a good year or two now, that I I wanted to change my view of life. And I realized that this life is for me, and nothing happens to me. It happens for me, so that I could change my perspective and my view on life and not have this like victim mentality.
Yeah, I was just talking about that last night with my friends, and they really get it, which is cool. It's funny because like being a bear and listening to Owen Benjamin, he's hilarious, and he basically talks about all this stuff, and it's hard. We've talked about this before, if you have other friends, it's hard to talk about like the scope or size of the earth, or like, jet fuel or dinosaurs. But when you could talk to people about not being a victim and they get it, it's like, that's the real gravy, because all the other stuff is just division stuff. Like, who cares? Like, it matters, but it's not
extra stuff.
That's not our job, isn't to like, tell the whole world. We could try, but man, I think all the stories about prophets and stuff are kind of like a warning for people,
Yeah, it's totally, everything is about victim mentality.
Yeah.
And
because if you can flip that in somebody, I think they're more open to the other stuff and the truth,
Exactly.
And even if not, the less people who view themselves as victim, the better off you are, especially if you're surrounded by those people. If those are the people in your life, like that's the thing that I think people should harp on. Not, but talk about whatever you want, but you try to tell people that, listen, I think, what the fuck is the moon? Did we really go there? People might, you never know how they're connected to it. They could have liked like NASA because of their grandfather, and now their grandfather's
father or whatever.
Yeah.
My dad worked for NASA. How dare you? I mean, exactly. People have done that.
Yeah.
So, but do you have the notes in front of you, or
yeah, I do.
So first, wanna start talking about the
we can talk about that. So what we're going to do is finish up from, there's a couple things we had notes for episode 9 with the movies, but we didn't exactly get into them because we were having such a great time. So, excuse me, as we do on the show, we're going to talk about that now. One of those was Collapsitarianism. And this is something that anarchists are pretty familiar with. It's basically like, the system that we see is so flawed, like the banking system, the financial system, all this crap, right? The government, the way that they just like create all this money out of thin air, that one day it's just all going to fall apart and just crash and collapse. And that's a theme of a lot of movies. Like one of the most, epic examples of that, I guess I could say, would be Mad Max with Mel Gibson, where it's like the end of the world, and they're driving around in these cars that they're like getting gas from, and like dressed like these gladiators, just killing each other. So everybody kind of imagines this scenario, and there's a lot of zombie movies that show that too, and shows like Walking Dead, or like Dawn of the Dead was a really good zombie movie that showed that. And it gets people kind of rooting for it. There's a lot of people that you see cars that says like zombie killing squad, zombie emergency squad, all this stuff, people, and they're watching Walking Dead. And I think a lot of it was because in my own example, I was like, yeah, bring on the zombies, because this world is like bullshit. So who cares? Like, I'd rather live in existence where it's, because at the end of the day, it's a more natural existence. You're living off the land. I mean, I don't think it would go as well as a lot of people think. It's not like the movies. It's not, it's so funny how they, like in The Walking Dead, for example, like 3, 4, 5 years into this, there's still cars. It's like, guys, you have no idea the maintenance that it takes to keep a car running. I'm not saying that certain people wouldn't still have cars, but to just everybody to have fucking cars, it's like, eh. So I think it gets people rooting for this thing that they want, because they just subconsciously even know that what's going on in the world isn't right, and it's all bullshit. And they're working their 9-to-5 job, and it just doesn't feel natural, and they're stressed out. So it's this theme that makes it into these movies and these shows. And it really gets people into this victim narrative, like we were talking about. And that's what I think the true mind control is, because if people view themselves as victims, then they think that they're owed this stuff. They think that, a good way to put it. But yeah, basically like they're owed something, you know, like I'm a victim, I'm owed reparations, or I'm owed some kind of payment or payback, and you got to give it to me. And whereas people who aren't victims, they realize that things, like you were saying, it doesn't happen to you, they happen for you. And every chance could be a new opportunity. And if you view life that way, then you're a lot less easily controlled by fear, because you're not really, because when things happen to you, you're not scared of it. And you're just thinking about like, oh, what can I do now? Or why did this happen? Instead of saying, oh shit, now I got to, like, we were talking about this actually in a group chat too, about breath control and about holding your breath, and about how people hold their breath so much and they don't even realize it. And this is something I used to do too. Yeah. And you hold your breath and you're like, and in those moments, I've been learning to just breathe and let go and just kind of be in the moment instead of being in fear, because most of fear and most of these bad things are just ideas of what can happen. And you just kind of spiral into all these things. Whereas if you take your attention, you could put it anywhere you want. You could put it to, how can I build? How can I grow? What can I learn from this? You know, the sun will come out tomorrow. Something? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, what were you going to say real quick?
No, I was just going to say that it's like that idea, the sun will come out tomorrow, you know, Little Orphan Annie.
Yeah. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the breathing thing.
Yeah.
So I know, like, it sounds kind of weird, but well, I'll just explain that. When I was in Sedona, and I'm going a little bit off topic, but when I was in Sedona and doing this trip with the mushrooms, it's not an epiphany of any sort, but it's just like I had this thought that to me was kind of like an epiphany. But for me, it was like breathing while I was, my eyes were closed and I was on this trip. I was realizing that I was holding my breath a lot, not intentionally, but I just wasn't breathing that much. And so I had to remind myself to keep breathing. And what came out of that for me was that breathing is what keeps us in this realm. I know that sounds really base and stupid, but if we don't breathe, you suffocate or whatever, and then you're not in this realm anymore. Right. So I was noticing that while I was tripping, that I didn't really want, like, I didn't want to breathe because I was in this amazing realm. And it was just like, I felt like I didn't need to breathe, but I knew that if I needed to stay in the other realm, I needed to breathe. So I needed to keep reminding myself to breathe. Does that make sense? Or does that sound stupid?
No, that does make sense.
Okay. It's like, yeah. Cause I was just like, I wasn't trying not to or whatever, but I just wasn't like feeling the need to breathe in that other realm. It was like I would forget to breathe. It was really weird. But anyway.
No, that makes sense, because this is the physical realm. So here in the physical realm, you're right. You have to breathe or you'll die. Mm-hmm. Your breath is the connection to it. So
and that was what was keeping me in the other realm. And I knew that I needed to stay in the other realm too, even though I was in this beautiful place, this beautiful other realm.
You were like riding the wave.
The unseen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting.
And then to go further, when you hold your breath like that, you're not connected to this whole experience. Your mind is going, instead of doing the yin and the yang, where it's like a mix and you're in the middle of the spirit and the physical, you're going more toward the spirit, but most times in a negative way, because you're thinking about the future and you're worried about, you're getting lost in thought about what could happen and what could be. So you're not anchored to what is in this physical realm, which is what we are. That's all, like, a lot of the New Age movement tries to get you into that whole just spiritual realm. Like, don't worry about the physical, don't worry about your body kind of thing. That's what it reminds me of also. So by breathing, like Mr. Miyagi said, don't forget to breathe. It's very important.
Right. And I was forgetting. Well, yeah, I was forgetting to breathe.
How dare you?
While I was on that trip. But I noticed it as well on the second trip that I had when I called you on the phone. Remember, I kept telling you, I just need to breathe. I just need to keep remembering to breathe. Remember, I was telling you that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. So bizarre.
I think
Anyway, before you get into the next couple of topics, I just wanted to say about this whole topic of movies and TV. I just want to give a shout out to Burn Bear because he was hilarious. He sent me a message and he's like, "You guys haven't watched any movies at all. Like, where have you been?" Yeah, he was making fun of us for not having watched Braveheart.
Yeah, well, the whole world doesn't revolve. See, because he's from Ireland, so he thinks that, it's like, we don't care about people who talk funny. I want to hear my actors talk like I talk. You know what I mean? I don't need funny fucking top of the day or whatever. What the fuck? I might get confused. No, I actually, Braveheart is one. It's funny because I've seen so many movies, but it's just weird. There's key ones that, because I think it was because I was in the Marines and stuff and I just missed out on it and I just didn't feel like going back, especially when they were long, like Titanic, I was kind of tricked into seeing, which I'm still kind of pissed about. But
tricked into seeing.
That fucking movie was, ugh. But it's cool because then at least I got the jokes after, because Futurama made fun of it.
Oh, okay.
So it was worth it to
at least to see it.
Get those jokes. But yeah, I went with a girl that I was dating at the time, and it was just,
of course,
what a nightmare of a movie. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it so long ago. Dude, I don't even know how long ago that movie was. What, 90s?
Yeah, and then that song, 90s, right? Celine Dion song. Anyway, well, we are talking about movies, so I guess with the topic is movies, so I guess we are still on we are
on the topic. So yeah.
So did you see Titanic, Burn Bear? All right. Let's do
I'm sure you did. He
let's
said
do a
he grew up
podcast about that.
He said he grew up in front of the TV. So
yeah.
So
yeah, I know that feeling. Ugh. But another lovely movie. There's two other movies we're going to talk about, or a series of movies. One's Lord of the Rings, and the other one is Star Wars. And so, Lord of the Rings. What I want to talk about is there's two really good things I want to talk about. One is you kind of get an idea of how evil operates in that series, or whatever you want to call it, that realm, that universe. And the other one is the difference between the movies and the books. And I noticed that the major difference really between the movies and the books, because I recently listened and I'm re-listening to the books, and I've listened to like the Silmarillion and stuff like that. And it feels like the attitude of the characters is one of the main differences, and like in the movies, for example, you have a character like Aragorn, and he's the son of Aragorn. He's the heir to be the king, right, of Gondor, the king of all the men, the Númenórean. And in the movie, it's like he has this conflict, he's like, oh, I don't know, because Isildur failed. He's the guy, he's the original king that he's descended down to or from. And it's all this like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, and I don't know. And then in the books, it's like, no, he's like, I'm Aragorn, son of Arathorn. I'm here to be the king. I'm a man. I'm here to do this. I've been in the wild fighting all kinds of beasts in the north. You guys have no idea. Like, I'm here to do this. And then also Theoden, the king of Rohan. He's the one who's under Saruman's spell. And then when he comes out of it, he's like ready to go to war. He's not like, oh, we shouldn't risk open war and all this stuff. He's like, no, like, we're going to do this. So, and there's several other examples of that too. And I feel like, I don't know why it's like that, but I could just see the difference in somebody viewing that, even for somebody like me. It kind of lets you think that victim narrative is okay. It's just like, oh yeah, it's fine to be. And I'm not saying it's not okay, but what I mean is that this art is portraying that, yeah, it's fine to be a victim if you want, but then you could choose to not be, and you got to believe in yourself, which I get it. But I just think that the way it's portrayed in the book, that part of it is a way better mind frame. What do you think? Yeah.
It's kind of, it's screwed up that they would change it's almost like, did you read the book? because that's not how their characters portrayed in the book. So why are you changing that?
Yeah. And people will say, well, they want to create drama for the movie and all this
Exactly.
stuff.
It's so annoying.
And I'm like, well, then why are you creating drama for the movie though? Like, I understand that you're going to think it's going to sell better, but what does that say about your art now that you're pandering to people?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, you think people aren't going to go see a movie called Lord of the Rings? You could do whatever you want. People go see it,
Yeah.
And the other thing that I like about Lord of the Rings, and this will probably we can even get into Star Wars a little bit, but as I've been reading the Silmarillion and all different works of Tolkien in this Lord of the Rings universe, you start to see a pattern really with evil. And it's this thing where every time it seems like it just gets it gets underestimated. People just are cocky, they're like, oh, there's this evil thing. We'll either figure it out or we could destroy it, or we won't be evil ourselves. And even with the ring, you see everybody going after the ring of power. And it's because they underestimate the power of the evil.
They misunderestimated.
Yeah, they misunderestimated. We made up a word. They underestimated it mistakenly.
No, didn't George W. make up that word?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ooh, shout out to that guy. Great word, by the way. See, I told you he's a genius. Yeah, so they're just underestimating. And it really just lies in these little choices that people make every day. It's these choices to ignore it or to engage in it a little bit, a little bit evil, whatever. It's not bad. And again, I'm not making judgments here, but I've just seen that is the root of it. And then it just grows into something big. There's even one part where the Númenórean kings, so all the kings that Aragorn is descended from, they go into their history and they talk about it. And at one time, one of those kings confronts Sauron. He it's this big army and goes to him, and Sauron just gives up. He's like, what am I going to do? You're going to kick my ass. And then they take Sauron to live. He has a form of a man. He takes his form at the time. He has the power to do it. And he just lives among them. And at first he's kind of in a jail. Then they just kind of let him walk around the land. And he just starts to gain influence because of his words. He just starts kiss people's asses and work on their ego. And before so many years, he's running the whole place, It's so crazy how it starts off though. And it really is just to show you that the battle of good and evil is it's an everyday thing that really is just by the little choices you make every day.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times people could be tricked into doing evil by thinking they're doing this really good, heroic thing out in the world. And they have to go and prove a point and save the world or save somebody. When really, if they just stayed home and tended their own business and looked into their own affairs, they would have been way better off.
Yeah, totally. I recently had this, I don't know if I'm going to talk about it, but I recently had this discussion about good and evil with some friends on Telegram, a different group. But it was based on narcissism, which is a topic we can maybe cover someday, but it was very interesting. The kind of some of the conclusions we were coming to that, as a, people that say, narcissists are this way, that, and the other. It's almost like you're playing the victim now too, because you're saying, and honestly, this is just coming to me right now because I didn't even say this to them, but it's what you just said made me think now you're kind of playing the victim because you're no, he's the narcissist and he was doing this to me, right? Okay. But the way that the conclusions we were coming to was that they're just, if they are truly what is labeled as a narcissist, which is someone who's basically selfish, so selfish that they focus only on what benefits them. They don't ever think about what benefits anyone else. So if you break it down to that, then all the choices that they make are always going to be like that. So you can't take it personally. And the people in this world who are doing quote unquote evil in this world, could we even say that they're doing it for evil? Or is it just because they're so selfish that they don't care? They don't care what happens to other people. So they're just acting out of pure and utter selfishness. And it gets to the point where, because they don't care about other people, it appears as if it is evil, like it's coming across as, no, they're doing this on purpose. They're trying to control us, just like we've talked about in other episodes. They're just trying to control us. And maybe it appears that way because that's where it's come to, because they're so selfish that they don't care. They truly don't care about you. They just care about themselves. That's it. And so anything that they can do to better whatever they like, to have a better outcome for themselves, is what they're going to try to do, because they literally don't care.
Yeah, they're blinded by their desires.
Yes.
And they really don't see the effects of their action, like, and even if they do, they somehow rationalize it because of their point of view that they are the center of the universe. Yeah. Right. So they're not technically setting out to do evil or worship any evil. Yeah, you're exactly right. You know
what I'm saying? Yeah. And so this whole victim mentality of like, those people are evil, they're trying to control us. And it's like Big Bear says, just like, he didn't say opt out, but I say opt out, but it's just like, don't participate. Like, don't rely on them. Just don't.
Yeah, because if you try to assign intention where there is none, you have no idea what their intentions are. And then that's just going to drive you crazy. Mm-hmm. And, it really goes to what we're talking about in this episode, though, because if that is the case, though, and you see yourself as like, I'll see myself doing things like that sometimes. And what I do, though, is say, well, okay, I could pause a second and use it like as a mirror and say, what about this behavior or action that someone's doing? Why is this bothering me so much? Is there something in my own life that's going on that maybe I have to work on or something? Or maybe there's somewhere in my life where I can affect this, not out in the world, but just internally or in my circle of friends or something.
Yeah. Really, really interesting stuff. Anyway, we kind of not super off topic, but
anyway, we were going to talk about Star Wars.
Good and evil. So yeah, this kind of trend, like this segues really well into the Star Wars. The whole, like, dark versus light Jedis or whatever. Yeah,
because so in the series, the Jedi. Oh, sorry. You're keeping me awake, Sharon.
Don't do that. You're going to make me sleepy.
So, the Jedi are supposed to be the good guys, and the Sith, Darth Vader, all those guys are the bad guys. And I guess that could be the case, but the flaw that I noticed in the Jedi, and the reason why I think Luke was the only one that was able to, now I'm just talking about like the original, right? Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. And then also I got some insight by watching the prequels, which were like, that came out in the 90s, episode 1, 2, and 3, where the Jedi in 1, 2, and 3, like the Order and all that stuff, they were just all light. They were all good. They only, they didn't focus on any desires. They weren't able to have any family or relations or any attachments. So they're all about light. And the Sith were supposed to be the dark side, but they didn't really get into exactly, And then I saw Luke Skywalker. He comes around later and he seems to be okay and he does all right and he doesn't get turned to the dark side. And it was like, why did that happen? And the epiphany that I had about it was because he was on his own journey. You know, Luke had Obi-Wan in the beginning kind of show him what to do, but then Obi-Wan dies, and then he's just this guiding voice every once in a while to kind of give him a little bit of a pep talk. But Luke was able to face his own fears and make his own decisions based on what he thought was right. Like when Yoda told him to stay and continue his training in Empire Strikes Back when his friends were in trouble and he sensed it, but he went out and he did the right thing. He went and helped his friends. And so he was on his own path. So that's why I feel like he didn't get corrupted, because he was able to deal with the dark and the light. And the Jedi in the 1, 2, and 3, you know, they have this dark Sith Lord Palpatine who comes to power and destroys everything right under their noses when they had all these Jedi and all this powerful stuff. And why couldn't they see it? Because they couldn't perceive the darkness. They couldn't even see why somebody would want to do that. Like, why would they even want to do that? Everything here is great. You know, they just kind of got, what's the word? Not reluctant,
complacent.
Yeah, they got complacent. That's a good one. Definitely. They're really complacent, and they just kind of allowed it to happen. And it's because I feel that instead of looking inward and trying to figure out what their desires are all about, they just shun them. You know, they're just like, we just won't have desires. Because I heard that in the video games or another series, there's like gray Jedi who do both.
Wow.
Yeah. And that really like blew my mind because,
Dude,
and
that's
they're
a total sync.
and they're hunted by both the dark side and the light side. Hate them.
Holy smokes. I think Philip, and I can't remember which one because there's so many now, but I think it was Speedy and Warlock were chatting with Philip about that, about the gray warlocks or gray witches or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was something like that. But along these lines, I have a quote that I posted in one of the groups that I found somewhere, and it really resonates and kind of goes well with what we're talking about, because all this stuff has just been coming up. It's just like total sync. But anyway, it says, if only it were all so simple, if only there were evil people somewhere insidiously committing evil deeds, and it were necessary only to separate them from the rest of us and destroy them. But the line dividing good and evil cuts through the heart of every human being. And who is willing to destroy a piece of his own heart? That is from a guy named Alexander Solzhenitsyn or something like that.
Solzhenitsyn.
Thank you. Solzhenitsyn.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't
wow,
know.
that's a really good quote. That sounds like something Michael Tsarion
would quote.
Yeah,
right?
I think I've heard him say that quote before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. Really good.
Yeah, it's very true. And that really goes along with the victim thing, because if you think there's people out there like Illuminati and all this stuff, and I'm not saying there are not people out there influencing, but if you're sitting there going, they control everything, they're gonna, we're all gonna die, it's all terrible, we're all gonna have microchips. It's like you're just sitting in fear, even though all that could be true.
Right. And that's why I don't think, and you've said this before, that the words good and evil are even useful for this topic. And I think that's another way that I think that's part of the grabble, you know what I mean? Where it's like we're using words that don't even help, because you're basically, again, you're boiling it down to one extreme or the other, right? And where's the gray in between? There's no balance. There's no harmony. There's no acceptance of, like, you can act that way if you wanted to. You can act this other way if you wanted to. It's all in you. So like if you're going, no, only they are evil, I'm not evil. So you've never lied before. So you've never, it's like when Jesus said he was not sin, let him cast the first stone. It's like same thing.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Totally, exactly.
But anyway,
well, I guess I could bring us into what we're going to talk about next, because I think that covers the Star Wars stuff in the no balance. Well, one thing I did want to say, this will bring us into Sedona, because we're going to be talking about nature, is because when you talk about balance, when you're doing real science and real investigation, you can look around outside in nature. Like, for example, where I live, when I grew up, there wasn't a lot of deer where I live in Connecticut. Now there's tons of deer. And what has that brought? It brought more coyotes, and it brought more things that will eat deer, right? And other various species. So it's like this overabundance of deer brings this equalizing force of things that are going to eat the deer into the environment. So in the same way, you could see equalizing force. You could see how everything's exactly going to be a balance, and then you could judge it up against that. And then if you did what the Jedi were doing, you could see that's totally not natural to just shun all your desires like that. It's like, what are you repressing, bro?
Yeah.
But so that'll bring us into Sedona, because we wanted to also talk about some different experiences that we had. There's some healing experiences, because in the last episode we talked about one of the major ones, which was the alleged plant medicine experience. But there are a lot of other experiences that we did that were healing. I mean, just getting together with other people that are like-minded in the same physical area is super healing. So,
yeah. And I've been calling it a cross-country mini bear meetup / retreat.
Exactly.
Because there's too many words to try to describe what we were trying to do, which was, well, number one was to meet each other in person for the first time, because we're all from all over the country. So that was one of the main purposes. And then the other thing was we wanted to be in a beautiful place where we could be surrounded by nature, and we could have that retreat sort of experience, where it wasn't so much about like vacation and like doing nothing all day, but it was about being around each other, being in nature, and getting to know each other, and experiencing experiences with each other. Just simple things like eating together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we chose Sedona because my friend Ashley, well, you live close and it's great. My friend Ashley had been there a couple times and was sending us pictures and stuff. And, we were just like, yeah, that's a great area, especially when we found that there's an Airbnb that didn't have Wi-Fi. We're like, yes.
That was awesome. Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like I was saying toward the end of the last episode, Michelle had thought about doing a retreat, and then Philip and I were on the phone, and we were kind of like, well, Philip, you're going to manifest this. And so somehow Spoons got involved, and the thing was, the first question was, where are we going to have this? And so people were able to like give their suggestions. And I said Sedona because I had just been there not too long ago and remembered how beautiful it was, because it had been some years since I'd last gone, and remembered how gorgeous and amazing and what a beautiful experience I had there. So I suggested that because Michelle didn't want to be freezing cold, because she's from Minnesota. Oh yeah, you betcha. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Not the best Minnesotan accent, but
don't you know,
like Fargo. But yeah, it was my idea, but I don't know. No one else suggested anything else, so it won. Yay for me.
I think everybody was just like, yeah, great freaking idea.
Yeah.
And people had been telling me to go to Sedona for a while, so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I had the furthest to travel, actually, because I came all the way from Connecticut, so that was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing that, and for like doing the whole caravan and picking up Adam and going through Alabama and picking up Spoons. And fell up.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. And then visiting Speedy and Warlock.
Yeah, that was an amazing part of the trip.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do that sometime. That
Yeah.
was. I was just talking to Warlock, and I saw a message, and I was thinking to myself about how I'm like, I miss that guy. And then I looked, and he sent me a
Aw.
message saying he missed me. I was like, I
Oh.
miss you too, bro. Yeah, I
That's
had a great
awesome.
time there. The whole family.
Yeah.
All right,
Awesome.
so we wanted to talk about some of the other experiences that we had that were very healing for us, besides the plant medicines. And
Yeah.
go ahead.
One of the first things that we did was the spring.
Yeah,
So we arrived. So Michelle came on a plane. I picked her up at the airport and we went up to Sedona. And that was a couple-hour drive. Well, we get there and we're kind of waiting around to hear from you guys. And finally you guys get in touch and you're like, yeah, we're, so far away approximately. And I didn't know which way you guys were coming from. Like, I didn't know what direction you were coming from. So I said, well, we're here. Where should we meet? And I suggested a place. And then you're like, no, how about this place? And you're like, the spring. And I'm like, dude, I wanted to go to that spring. So that's so freaking perfect, because I had thought about it the night before and I had like set up some water jugs that I could take so that we could fill them up. And, but I wasn't thinking like, yeah, that's where we would meet. I had no idea that it was like literally like within walking distance of the place we were staying, which is ridiculously amazing. So we just all met up at the spring. We filled our water bottles and then we just took a walk and took a hike right there. Cause there's like a little park area. Like, what was it? Camping grounds.
yeah. There's campgrounds
So there's
there that were
picnic
closed.
tables and stuff like around in that area. So we just kind of walked around and you and Philip and Adam like crossed the stream and went to the other side. And me, Michelle, and Spoons hung back and just chilled. It was fun. It was really cool. Like, we were there like good hour and 45 minutes before the place was ready for check-in. So, and that's a place where we kept going every day to get water.
Yeah, the water was so good there too. I felt like it was really
So good.
healing. It's just, it has all the it's right out of nature. It has all the minerals and everything that it needs right out of the side of the mountain. So it was just so fresh. Yummy water.
Mhm.
I miss it. I have a little bit left.
I have nothing left.
Oh no. Well, you can go
Yeah.
back.
I know.
But yeah, we did some other hiking too. We went across the street from there a couple days later, and there was another campsite, and then it went up the hill. So we started to hike kind of up this hill / mountain. We found a really cool jutting rock that stuck out, and we climbed to the top of it and took some pictures. That was really cool because it wasn't a set trail or a path.
No, it wasn't.
We were kind of
made
just
our own.
Yeah, we made our own way to this rock, and then we got up on it. So it was a little challenging too. I mean, I do a lot of hiking, and I had to do 3 points of contact. That's always a good rule when you start to get into like vertical climbing. You always want to have 3 points, like 2 feet and a hand, 2 hands and 1 foot at least,
Or a staff.
or a staff. Yeah. So we climbed up onto this rock, and that was cool because it was like a feeling of accomplishment. I know it was good for you too, because it was a little tricky because you're a little smaller.
Yeah, I was trying to get over these like fallen over logs that were like this, they were like huge. Yeah.
So how did
It
it
was
feel to be
fun.
up there?
Huh?
Did you feel like you like really accomplished something when you got up there? We should have had you like stick a flag in it or something. That would have
I
been great.
know. It felt good. No, it felt nice.
Yeah.
It was really good.
But that other spot that we found was really cool. What was the name of that other
Shoot.
hiking? It was like a bridge or something, right?
I forgot. I don't know if I knew what the name of it was. Dang it.
So it's on the road into Sedona, and there's a bridge
Before you
there.
get into Sedona, coming down
Yeah,
Oh,
coming north to south through the canyon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're heading south, you hit this bridge and there's a parking spot right there. There's like a lot. And then you can hike down and you could they have views from right under the bridge and you could see everything, but then you could keep hiking down all the way down the canyon right to the river, which is what we did.
And we took like a shortcut too. I
Yeah.
don't know where the other trail led to, but like we just like took a shortcut and went straight down into the water.
Yeah, we just followed the canyon down. We found some really cool rocks down there.
And then you guys, like you and the guys just like took off.
Yeah. Philip, Adam, and I decided to cross the stream or the river that was there on the rocks. And then we thought that was it, but it was on that side there was land and we kept going and there was like another stream and then even another one.
Streams to
cross,
like
right? split it all up. So we were hanging out over there and we found some really cool rocks. There's a mask on the ground, which is hilarious. So it's like, no matter how far you go out, it's always touched. You know, people are bitching about straws. It's like, what about masks? At least straws serve a function, you know? So that's not insane. So yeah, no, it was really healing. And then after that, we went out into town and we got some food. And that's another thing that is really cool to do with friends that we've found that was healing, because we're all in this one place out in public and we're all having a good time, laughing, being loud, telling funny jokes, telling stories, sharing really good food. And you were speaking Spanish with the waiter and stuff. That was really cool. You were like giving your, you know, like, we want the good treatment. We're not these stupid gringos. Not all of us anyway, but some of us. Yeah, so that in itself is really healing. And I've talked about this about bear meetings in general, or bear meetups in general, or meetups of like-minded people. It's because you could just be yourself and talk about the things that interest you, and the people around you are actually interested in and want to hear more about it. So it really is healing because there's none of this rejection or not a lot of victim narrative going around too. You know, these people aren't viewing themselves as victims, which is great.
Yeah. And the first night that we came into town, actually, after we had filled up the water bottles and then went to the Airbnb and unpacked everything, then we decided we were hungry and we were just going to go grab something to eat. And we found a place, and I think Philip was looking at it because it was like, oh, there was nice views. But the funny part was like the nice views were like during the day, right?
Yeah.
So it was night. And so the girl, it was really cool because we're walking up to the place, and I don't know, maybe I'm the one who said, or somebody was like, well, what if, I don't remember. It wasn't like victim narrative, but it was like something about if we should be concerned about if these people are going to make us do something that we don't want to do, right?
Yeah, not let us show our smiling faces.
I'm just going to walk in there like I don't know what I said, but I said something like, I'm just going to walk in there like I own the place. Like, I don't care. Like, and if they reject us, fine, we'll go somewhere else where they're going to love our smiling faces, you know?
Exactly.
I can't remember if I brought it up or someone else did. I probably was the one who brought it up. But we get in there and none of the waiters or waitresses or staff were wearing anything. I was blown away. I was like, yes, these people get, you know, I think they get it. And then our server was hilarious. Kat, she was so funny. She was just very sarcastic, dry, sarcastic. And like Philip was loving it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a really good time. And we had a lot of good laughs, ate some good food. So it was really healing just in of itself.
Yeah, it was good stuff. But yeah, so did you want to say something else, or did you want me to bring up some other things we did?
Yeah, we could talk about the other stuff that we did. What about the gifts? Because that's something we did right away in the beginning.
Yeah. So like the first night we got in, and I'm just going to make fun of Brandon for a minute. So we're all in the main house, right? And there's like this little place where the house doesn't connect to this other bedroom where Brandon was with his kitties. So he's over there chilling, I guess. And we're all like, where's Brandon? And they're all like, story of our lives the last few days. No, just kidding. But so I was like, I'm just excited because I want to give you the gifts that I brought. Like, so I just kept saying, somebody go get Brandon. So finally you got in, and then we all exchanged stuff, and that was really fun. Like, I was more excited about giving you guys the things I had been like collecting to like bring to you than I was about getting anything. I wasn't expecting anything. I just was like, I just want to give these things because I've been sitting on them. Like, they've been sitting here in this corner, and I just want to give them away already. Like, I was just excited to give them to you guys. And that was really fun.
Yeah. I had, well, I wanted to take a quick shower. But I also really had to poop, and I couldn't. So that's, if you really must know, I was like in the bathroom.
Totally okay. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to say it now because you were like,
because we were being victims.
Because it wasn't what you expected.
We were playing the victims. Like,
yeah, I was the real
Brandon
victim of my colon. I'm like, come
our
on.
whole entire evening plan.
I was the victim of my own colon. I'm like, come on, just poop. Poop already. Let's get out of here. But yeah, it's weird when you're on the road, I guess.
It is very, very uncomfortable sometimes on the road. I get it.
It's cool though. Actually, when I got to Adams, I was able to poop a bunch, and one night was nice. I'm like, ooh, yeah. Now that we're talking about it, hey, you brought it up.
Thank you.
Just busting your balls. Yeah. So that was.
I don't have.
That was a lot of. That was really cool. The gift thing. That was awesome. I had the tarot deck. I don't have it. It's here, but I was actually using the tarot deck to give readings.
Oh, really?
To give a reading to April. Yeah. Because it was a really good deck for her.
Oh, awesome.
Really resonated. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, Adam gave us these cups. I shared it on the last one. He gave us these cool cups with our sun sign right here. And then, like, you know, our bear name or whatever, and a little quote. Mine says, like I said last time, if you're not Sharon, you're not Karen. You're
exactly.
Well, it doesn't say totally, but you're totally not Karen.
Yeah, totally.
But anyway, yeah. And I think, we got little journals, like little leather bound journals. Those are so cool.
Yeah, those are really nice.
Freaking journals. I'm just terrible because I'm like, I like always write on like the first page, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use this thing. And then I'm like, what am I going to use it for? And then I never use it. It's terrible. You're
terrible.
But I'm going to find something to use this. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then you gave me some stuff. You gave me a tarot deck. You gave me this cool thing. Yay.
The Selenium Tower.
I never had one of these. Oh, hold on.
Holding.
You gave me the essential oil healing deck.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Yeah, I figured you're like the best person to give that to.
Oh, thank you. And I just want to show you this thing. Crazy. Look at this thing. It's not anything I got from you guys, but I had it already. Can you
selenite?
See it? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a huge piece. Okay,
there you go.
It's a better angle. Yeah.
It's like a magic wand.
Yeah, it's huge. Amazing. But anyway.
Bibbidi bop.
Yeah, but I didn't have one of these. So I was really happy and excited to get one.
Yeah, those things are awesome.
So yeah, we just got like different stuff from different people, and it was just really a really fun exchange.
Yeah, I got this really cool walking stick from
Christmas.
Philip. Yeah. My walking stick, you could see if you follow me on Instagram or whatever, I put a bunch of pictures, but it's really cool. It's like a staff, and it has like twists in the wood.
Philip made you that.
Yeah, I think it's sick.
So awesome. Oh, there was a funny part where I walked into the Airbnb, and they had walking sticks for like when you go hiking, you can borrow them and you can take them on your hike. And outside I had said, "Oh, Philip, did you make Brandon his walking staff or his staff or whatever. And he's like, yeah, they're over there in the house or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll see him later. So I walk in the house and then I close the door and I see two staffs over there. And I'm like, I just look at them like not paying attention. I'm just like, oh, those must be the staffs. Cool. Like, but they were just like normal, like walking sticks. But when I saw yours, I was like, holy smokes. It's like, it's got like all these swirls that were like giant. Already part of the tree. They were like, that's how the tree was. It was amazing.
Yeah. And it's giant too. It's really big.
Totally like perfect for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it.
But yeah, so one of the days we walked outside and somebody, I think Adam was like, let's just pull this like hot tub apart, and he just opened it and I was like, are we getting in? He's like, sure. Okay. So we just went, put our swimsuits on and got in, and it wasn't like super cold. It was probably in the 50s. So it was like, it was perfect enough that you could get in. The sun was starting to peek out a little bit. So it wasn't super cold or anything. It was totally perfect. And then Brandon got in as well.
Yeah. The hot tub was really nice. That was a really like awesome, relaxing thing because we were out in nature and you could like see the birds flying. We saw like those bluebird looking things or whatever they were. They were like all flocking together. And, yeah, it was just so relaxing. And then afterwards I got into the hammock, which was awesome. That was out there too.
I didn't get the hammock. I saw Philip get in it, but I never tried it.
I just laid in it for a while. It was super relaxing out there. It was crazy because the stream's right there. Yeah, man, it was.
Yeah, the creek is right behind the house. So it's like you could hear it too if you got close. It's really pretty.
Creaking it up.
Yeah. One of the things that we did was one of the days we went out to dinner, and then we came back. Philip had pulled cards for all of us from his, I think he had 4 or 5 decks, I think. And so he pulled one from each deck for each of us. And it was just really cool, the syncs, because one of the cards he pulled for me was a card that I keep pulling for myself. And I was just, I don't always know what that card's, but I think I told you about the 2 of Swords. And I'm always kind of confused about why that card comes up for me. Like, I guess it's like there's 2 ideas or 2 things there that I'm either struggling to figure out which one or something like that. Like there's this indecision, but it could also be describing my indecision in general when I have too many options, potentially. I don't know. But yeah, his readings were pretty on point as I was reading through the little booklets. So
yeah, those are really cool. I love the tarot, obviously, and it was amazing to see all the different cards like that. Especially for Oracle each person.
Oracle deck cards as well. I would just want to say, go ahead.
Oh yeah. No, I was just gonna say it was really synchronistic too. A lot of the cards that were pulled, it was really cool. I love that. And I also gave a reading for or I just pulled a card for Adam, and I also pulled one for Jeremiah when we were in Colorado, and it was the same card, which is pretty crazy.
For each of them, this like when you
the Wheel of Fortune. And it's crazy because we pulled it for this episode too.
I know. I was like, isn't that the one we just pulled? I get the Wheel of Fortune mixed up with
the world. Yeah, that happens a lot. You too? Yeah. 21, card number 21, right? Yeah, because it has the same. Because it's like a circle in the middle.
Yes. So I sometimes get confused. So okay, so you pulled Wheel of Fortune for both Adam and Warlock.
Yeah, two I think
separate times.
2 different decks. Yeah, it was right at one after another too.
Wow.
And go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that basically what I said in the beginning of the episode is what I was saying, how we make our own luck and how we're at this point now where everything we're doing is lining up with what we should be doing, kind of thing. And it's just manifesting in a good way, and bad things are going to happen. It's going to seem like they're bad, but as long as we're making those choices, like I said before, the correct choices, or the not evil choices, the good choices, it's going to work out in that way for us, because you're taking the time, you're taking the care, and you're not putting yourself at the center of the universe, but you're still taking care of yourself, and you still love yourself, but you realize that everybody matters, and there's a way to be where you could also not only love yourself, but the people around you too.
Indeed. So one of the last things we did on the last night we were there was we went to dinner, like Brandon said, to a Mexican place. And then somebody noticed a crystal shop across the street that appeared to still be open. It was already dark, and it appeared to be getting late. So we walked across the street, and that was pretty cool, because they had all kinds of crystals and all kinds of stones, and the two girls that were working there were really, really nice, really kind, and willing to just answer any question. And like Adam asked them a question about this one stone, and I think he was trying to figure out, was it something or something else? And they were both like genuinely trying to figure it out, because they were shining a light on it and like going, okay, if it looks like this, could it be this? And they were going back to their computer and looking things up, and it was just, I think they were doing that. But
yeah,
he was like really like, wow, they really, really want to help figure this out. And I asked them, I had some bracelets on me too, there's some stones that I don't know, like I don't know what they are. So I was asking them, and they were very helpful, and they were giving me cards for each of the stones too, which I was like, I didn't even need those, but thank you. I mean, that's really sweet. Or like, I wasn't asking for them, but there was a funny part, like toward the end of like leaving the store. Before we left, there was an older gentleman in there, and he was talking to the girls, and we realized he was one of their fathers. And he was like, I'm a miner, or I used to be a miner, or all this other stuff.
He looked like a miner too.
He did. Yeah. He was very weathered.
Weathered. His hat, like his dress,
yeah.
I'm a miner. I'm like, I believe you.
Yeah. Yeah. And he had, let's see. Oh, what was I going to say? He had this, like this piece of stone, rock, whatever it was. And he's like, he had it in his pocket, and it was like this big around. I mean, it was a big thing. And he's like, this is a meteorite I found in such and such a place. And we kind of looked at him, we're like, that's interesting, right? So we all leave, like some people bought some stuff, and then we all leave. And then as we're leaving, we're like, man, what the heck was that rock? What do you think a meteorite was? What do you think that is? And then somebody's like, and I think I was like, I wish we had asked him, like, if we could take a picture of it. And somebody's like, you could go see if he's still there. And I'm like, okay. So Brandon and I ran over there to see if he's still there. And he was just standing outside, and we're like, can we see your meteorite stone again? So he shows it to us. And I took a picture. I took some pictures of it, and I took a video of it as Brandon was like turning it in his hand so that we could see all the facets and everything. And maybe I could share that video with Brandon or whatever. You can find it, and you can maybe maybe show it on the screen as we're talking about it. But anyway, it was very interesting. And we just kind of wondered, what the heck is a meteorite? What kind of rock is that?
Yeah. It looked like it had, inscriptions or something on it, like it was carved.
And it almost looked like it had like a tree, right? Because it almost looked like it had roots or something.
Yeah, it looked really like a tree with a moon. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do, even if I could just get pics up or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we
We
did
could
that.
share it in our Over Sharon group too. So if you want, if you're on Telegram, why don't you join Over Sharon and we'll throw it in there for sure too.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Um, and then the last thing that we did was that night after we went crystal shopping, we did Thai massage. Our friend Michelle taught us. She had a little lesson plan, everything. She teaches it. And we went like step by step, and we had, 6 of us, so we had partners, and it worked out. Do you want to talk about that, Brandon?
Yeah,
What
that
you thought
was,
about that?
yeah, I love that. That was, I really didn't know what to expect, honestly,
I
because
didn't either.
I'd
No idea.
never done Thai massage or anything like that. So, what we did was, though, we broke off into pairs, and then I was like, Sharon, you should be my partner so we could talk about this on the show. Totally. Plus, I love you. So it was really cool because it reminded me of like 2-person yoga. That's really what it reminded me of. Because like you do these yogic exercises and stretches for yourself, and they're really good. But then what if you had another person there that can help you do these stretches and not only help you, but sometimes do them for you. And then also there's like massage elements where they could like, rub on your hands and like push on your legs and all this stuff. And it felt really good. So that's really what it reminded me of. And
Yeah.
yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it was really a neat experience. Me personally, I wish it had been more like coherent, because we were already getting sleepy. I mean, this is like pushing midnight by the time we got through all the stuff we were doing that last day. It was already getting late. But we wanted to get it in because we really wanted to learn. And plus it was a good ending to a long day to get a little bit of like massage. So that was really cool. I mentally wish I had more. Well, I mean, just like anything you try for the first time, it's always going to be a little bit like off. Like I was like, am I even doing this right? It's like, okay, do this and then do that. It's like, okay, where should my foot be again? I'm lost. Like, but she was doing great. She was walking around and like, okay, no, like you want to do this, you want to do that. So it was really cool experience.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was also cool to know that you could do it. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, just to see if it would work. And I know that like the massage that I received from you was great. I felt great even like a couple days after,
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
thank
no,
you.
I mean, you too. Yeah, I mean, especially I think the hands, like there was this like thing you do where you stick one hand
Oh yeah.
over like that, right? And then you're just, wait, I'm lost here. I think it's like this, something like this. And then you're just like massaging, but the other hand is over here or something like that. And then you're just massaging. You're like using this finger to massage, right? And the other thumb as well.
Yeah.
You're using both hands. That was really, really good. Except your hands are like enormous. So
I was like massaging your elbow.
It felt like you were pulling my middle finger like off the socket because your hand is like this, right? So it's
yeah.
Like, but other than that, that was amazing. The hand massage, amazing. And then the foot and calf massage too. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was
especially
really cool.
The calves. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, when you like
I think I needed that after the hiking and everything. That felt really good.
Yeah, it was perfect. We did all the hiking and then we got the massage. It worked out really well.
Right.
It really did.
Like timing for everything was just like, it just worked out.
Yeah.
So
it was a wonderful trip. Hopefully we can duplicate it next year. We'll figure something out, do something.
Yeah, make it better.
I'm definitely down. Yeah.
That'll be so cool. I'm excited already. Dang it. Maybe we can do it every 6 months.
Let's do it. 4th of July, baby.
Ooh, after your birthday.
Yeah, 4th of July. I usually don't take any gigs around that time, so I'll have some time. I don't know if I can make it all the way to Sedona, but I was even talking to Jeremiah. I'm like, we should do a camping trip, maybe halfway or somewhere, because then the peeps from Alabama can go. maybe somewhere in like Tennessee or something. I don't know, or
Yeah.
closer. We'll figure it out.
Well, unless I have someone to caravan, not necessarily caravan, but maybe carpool with me.
Yeah. Oh, we can figure it out. We got time.
Yeah, exactly. It'll work out.
Exactly. Just get an airship, Sharon. Come on.
I know. That's all I need.
Fly over here.
As long as there are no restrictions on how I can fly over there, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see, because
You know what I
it'll be
mean?
the summer. It'll be, you know, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in another
Right.
6 months. We could be, you know, we could be in a civil war. Or we could be, you know, in paradise. Who freaking knows? Like the way everything's been shifted in the past 2 years, you know, it's hilarious.
I know. It's crazy.
So, but anyway, I'm sure we'll have fun no matter what happens. We'll enjoy it.
Indeed.
All right. Well, is there anything else we're going to talk about on the show? I think is that about it.
I think that was it. I think we talked about everything we wrote down we were going to talk about.
All right. Awesome. Well, guys, we hope you found this as entertaining as much as fun we had in Sedona. And make sure you go check out my website, morelawsmoreproblems.com. Hit thumbs up, like this video, share it. Well, you know, again, don't woke rape anybody, but share it with people you think that will appreciate it. And comment below, let us know what you think. And if you have any other topics for episodes, anything you'd like to hear that you think that we'd be good at covering, please let us know. And what do we say to the good people, Sharon?
Well, first of all, share on.
That's right.
And then if you're not sharing,
If you're not oversharing, you're totally not
you're not
caring.
oversharing.
Then you're totally not caring. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Like any producer I've ever met. Whoever gave me a beat, I had a first for it. I killed the shit, no hearse for it. Man, speaking of the kill, I was built for it. Man, give me the Dutch, I got skills for it. Rehab so high, I got skills for it. And it's so high, I ain't coming down. Kicking back with my shades on. I'm in the club looking for a blonde. Tatted up with some J's on. With her mini skirt and her tongue out. She got a banger to her from what I heard them say.